Just crossed into Idaho. Bear Lake's still off to the right. There it is, Bear Lake. I'm here at St. Charles, Idaho, home of Gutzon Borglum. He's famously known for Mount Rushmore Monument. How about that? Starting the tour of the cave.
Together here, we'll get started. So my name is Lauren. I'm going to be your tour guide today. Thanks for coming up to Minnetonka. A few rules before we go inside the cave. First of all, please do not touch any of the rocks in there. This is known as a living cave, so if you touch them, they will stop growing because the oils from our fingers will clog the pores, and we don't want that. Next rule is our newest one, the masks. Please keep them on at all times. If you take them off, I'm required to take you out, and I want to give you the full cave experience, so please keep them on. Another thing is no food or drink are allowed in the cave unless they are a non-disposable water bottle. Next thing, photography is allowed, just no tripods, but it doesn't look like you guys have any, so I think we're good. Alright, just a little bit of history before we go inside. This cave was founded in 1906 or 1907, we don't know which, by a man named Ed Arnell. He was working down at a mill, and he was camped by Porcupine Camp. He was camped in Porcupine Camp, which you may have seen coming up the road. One day he was hunting, and he shot a grouse. Does anyone know what a grouse is?
Nope.
So a grouse is just pretty much a small version of a chicken. So he shot it, and it fell from that cliff down here. So he must have been really hungry because he climbed all the way down to get it. Then he noticed that there was a little bit of wind coming out from the mountain. That usually doesn't happen. So that day he went back down to the camp, and the next day he brought a few of his buddies up, and they uncovered the opening of the cave, which was only about the size of that trash can lid right there at the time. Another cool thing about this room is where we get to see some sedimentary rock. We call this limestone. A little fun fact, limestone, this is actually one of the biggest limestone caves in Idaho, so that's pretty cool. Over here we have some green stuff. You may be wondering what that is. It is actually algae, and it's because of these lights right here. This gives it enough nutrients to grow on here, so if we hadn't had these lights in here, it wouldn't grow. This white stuff is calcite. The way that this cave was hollowed out is from a acid called carbonic acid, which is actually the same stuff that is in your soda. So basically it was pretty much carved out by a big can of soda. Alright, so this next room is what we call the display room, or some call it the vandalism room. So So the reason we call it the display room is because it's the first room in this cave that we get to see these awesome formations here. Do we have any guesses as to what these are called?
Stalactite?
So stalactites are the ones that hang tight to the ceiling, and then stalagmites are the ones that grow from the bottom up, and they might reach the top someday. And then over here, like this one, is a column, and that's when they meet together. You see this one right here? This whole thing is called the Three Sisters, so the middle sister here is actually waving at us. But originally, her hand here used to be part of her head. So when that earthquake hit, we think she might have had a splitting headache, right guys? We have the Minnetonka train. Kids love that. Ballroom. From top to bottom here, it is about 90 feet. And from over here to over here is about 300 feet, or the length of a football field. Down here we have Hogwarts. Oh, where'd my laser go? There we go. This is Hogwarts with the cone-shaped towers here. Over here we have Rapunzel's castle, because it's just straight up pretty much for the most part. Before Frozen came out, this was actually called Hermit's Castle for some reason. Don't know why. Alright, so this is the last room that we get to go on tours. Back here, you'll see this is actually just over halfway through the entire cave, but the remaining over here is where our bats like to hang out. There are a few formations, they're very little, but the reason we don't take tours back there is because there are a lot of places where it's really small crawl spaces, and we just like to give the bats a little bit more privacy when they need it.
One night Rose came home from church and she saw a guy in her house and she realized that he was robbing her. He hadn't seen her yet, so she yelled out, "Axe 238!" And the robber froze. And while he froze, Rose called the cops. The cops came, put the handcuffs on him, arrested him, and then they sort of looked at him and said, "All she did was quote scripture to you. Why did you freeze?" And the robber says, "Scripture? I thought she said she had an axe and 238s.